have traveled far and fought hard, but at last we have arrived in Khorne's bloody realm.
After a good long wait for it to appear, Total War Warhammer 3 is coming out later in 2021, and Creative Assembly has now started to unveil some of the big new features coming for this final episode in the trilogy. We got to go hands-on with the hardened, bear-riding, ice magic-wielding army of Kislev, battling against the bloodthirsty, melee-focused forces of Khorne, and that would probably be exciting enough for some to see these new factions in the game. But what's this? A new battle type? That's exactly right, this game features a new survival battle mode, reserving this for key points of the narrative campaign, where, playing as Kislev, you will have to march your armies into the realm of chaos and give each of the 4 chaos gods a good slap to let them know their place. So what is survival battle? We got to play the game for a couple of hours, and here's what you need to know about this new mode. Now obviously what you're seeing in this video is work in progress. Gameplay was actually captured using streaming technology, and Creative Assembly are obviously going to make the most polished product that they can for the full release of the game. Survival Battle is a multi-stage battle type, but while its name suggests that it's this final last stand for your forces, it's actually a grim push into enemy territory to deal a decisive blow. It mixes together both attack and defense into one, doing this with maps that feature 3 victory points that you need to capture in sequence. However, when you capture each victory point, you then need to defend it, with a magical barricade blocking your path before you can continue your onward march forward to fight more and more challenging enemies. One thing to note is that each victory point actually has a dampening effect on your forces, applying a map-wide debuff to your units until each capture point is taken. So, just as the enemy gets tougher, you will get a little bit stronger to match them. As you make your forward progress, you will have to deal with what feels like an endless onslaught of enemies, and it comes at you in waves. Each victory point is defended by a few enemy units, but as you capture a point, much stronger waves of enemies will then come to attack you and try to wrestle back control. It's defeating those waves that will clear the path ahead for you to continue your march forward. The pace that they appear is surprisingly relentless. Where you might expect something like a horde mode to give you a preparatory phase, a 1 or 2 minute timer for you to set up your army and prepare your defences, Survival Battle just throws enemies straight at you. It really keeps you on your toes, though you can obviously pause the game or put it into half speed to set your formations if you like. This is perhaps the most surprising element of Survival Battle. As you capture a control point, you can then hastily erect some defensive structures, placing barricades and battlements and damage-dealing towers at certain points on the map to help whittle away the enemy regiments before they get to you. Sure, it's a little bit of a tower defense style of gameplay, but it's really sprinkling little hints of Total War's siege warfare into the open terrain battle. There's a bit of variety here, with different types of wall structure that can be a slowing trap, a rampart for your regiments to stand on, or a simple barricade. You also have several different towers, which range from basic arrow firing up through to magic blasters that will deal much more damage. You will have to make quite a few choices as to what you want to place, because everything that you do will cost you supplies. Supplies are earned through killing enemies and also awarded to you for each victory point that you capture, and you will need them for more than just building defences, which we'll get to in a moment. You can get some supplies back by demolishing structures, and also you can switch to a different type of structure which costs you less. But beware that as you march up the battlefield, enemies will continue to spawn in the first area, so you will need to keep some defences for your behind, perhaps even leaving some units as a rear guard. In contrast to the traditional style of Total War Battle, you can actually add to your army in survival battles. You only start off with a handful of units, and you'll be thinking to yourself, how could you possibly go on to defeat a greater demon at the end of this long level with just a few battered Sargard Winged Lancers and your hero Katarine Boka? Well, the answer to that is, as with the defences, spending supplies. Again, you have plenty of options here. You can spend supplies on the units that you already have. You can improve their weapon damage, armor, or simply refill a ranged unit's ammo. You can also replenish the unit's strength as well. More importantly, each victory point also features a portal through which you can summon more units, or bring back those that you've already lost in battle or decided to teleport out of battle in order to replenish their strength. Initially, that will mean that you're calling in things like a standard regiment of Streltsy, these hybrid ranged and melee units with rifles that double as two-handed axes. But by the time you reach the third victory point, where you'll be faced by huge waves of enemies, artillery and towering demons, you'll be able to summon your own artillery, elite cavalry units, and the huge elemental bear that will be able to slap down the Chaos God's greatest champions. There's a really great feel of evolution as you go through the survival battle, and I am absolutely here for it. That's pretty much all that you need to know about survival battle in Total War Warhammer 3. Certainly there's a few tips and tricks that you can make use of that haven't been covered here, but in general this is just a great new twist on the game's real-time battles, putting the pressure on and blending together both defensive and attacking styles of gameplay, with a sprinkling of a few influences from other parts of the RTS genre. Total War Warhammer 3 is expected to come out later this year in 2021, and if you want to know more about what we found in our hands-on time, you can head over to the6axis.com for our written preview, where we also talk a little bit more about playing as the Kislev and the various different units you get to use. Before you go though, make sure to like, subscribe, do the usual YouTube things, and hopefully we will see you again soon. Goodbye!